What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? JV Wans and Dogon SS are back once again to kick it with you for another edition of the Conscious Approach channel on YouTube. Major shouts out to everybody who's been tuning in with us. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button, and leaving those comments. We certainly appreciate it as we continue to get things rocking and rolling. As you know, I've been saying lately, and I want to repeat myself because it is worth repeating. We understand the valuation of a person's digital currency.
That's right.
As someone who does not like and comment and subscribe to 10% of all of the content that I consume on a regular basis, it really means something when I feel moved enough to actually click the button. It means that I am receiving a certain amount of value out of that content, and that value warrants me making the effort to click that subscribe button. So to all of those out there who have been subscribing to the channel, we do not take that for granted because we understand the value of your digital currency. We do not take that for granted. Also want to say that we are now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. For anybody out there who wants to check us out on the audio platforms, if you're not in position to check us out on video on YouTube, you can hit us up over there as well, engage with us as well. We're also on TikTok now, sharing as much of the content over on TikTok as our time will allow. So if you're active over on TikTok, follow us over there as well at ConApproach, ConApproach, if you are so inclined. Now, with that out of the way, July the 8th, 2025, we want to thank everybody out there tuning into the stream, as well as everyone who is going to be kicking it with us as we upload each of our videos individually for the week on the channel. Got some interesting topics to talk about tonight. The first thing that we are going to get into is hip-hop OG, Todd Smith. I believe LL's name is what? Todd James Smith, right?
I think so. Todd
Yeah,
Smith.
Todd Smith, LL Cool J. I wanted to talk about this. I found this very interesting. So LL Cool J was slated to perform in Philadelphia during the July 4th weekend. The name of this concert is called the Wawa Welcome America concert.
Okay.
It is a concert in Philadelphia. He was slated to perform there, but he backed out. He still traveled to the city, but he elected to not perform because so apparently in Philadelphia, there is a union strike going on. Laborers in various sectors of industry are striking, looking for a more advantageous union agreement. And so there's various things that are not happening in the city. You can look it up. There's like a trash pile up all throughout Philadelphia.
That's right.
Because
Yeah.
one of the things that are one of the areas that are striking in Philadelphia is sanitation, waste management. And so there's like trash and things that are just piling up all over the streets of Philadelphia because laborers and union workers are striking. And so LL said, in solidarity for everybody in Philadelphia who's striking, I'll still come, but I'm not going to perform. Basically he was saying I can't in good faith come to the city and perform when a lot of this is going down and a lot of people are hurting. And I would like for there to be a resolution. So to show my support, I'm just not going to perform. So to provide a little context here, this article says LL Cool J supports union strikes in Philadelphia by dropping out of concert. LL Cool J has decided to drop out of Wawa Welcome America concert in Philadelphia, set to take place on Friday, which was July 4th, due to union strikes. LL shared his reasoning why in an Instagram post. So I'm not going to read the quote because I'm just going to play the video anyway. LL said he'll still come to Philly in case the city's leaders and the union come to a resolution. If that's the case, he'll still perform as planned on the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. AFSCME District Council 33 President Greg Boulware issued a statement in response to LL's decision. LL Cool J's decision to stand in solidarity with the labor movement by choosing not to cross a picket line is a powerful testament to his respect for workers' rights. His actions highlight the importance of supporting those who strive for fair treatment and better working conditions by prioritizing the dignity and respect of laborers over potential fan disappointment. LL Cool J sends a strong message about the value of unity and collective action. His support underscores the significance of the labor movement and its ongoing fight for justice and equity. We are grateful for his exemplary stance and the impact it has on raising awareness and fostering respect for working people everywhere. LL Cool J is truly the greatest of all time. As LL pointed out, the issue between the city and workers is due to money. The American Federation of State Council and Municipal Employees District Council 33 has been on strike since July 1st, according to Action News. The AFSCME District Council 33 is the city's biggest labor union, encompassing sanitation workers, teachers, and airport employees. Philadelphia Mayor Sherelle Parker also responded to LL. I am aware that LL Cool J has decided not to perform at Wawa Welcome America's July 4th concert tomorrow evening on the Parkway. I spoke personally with LL Cool J today. I respect his decision and understand his desire to see the city unified. He is always welcome in Philadelphia. The AFSCME District Council 33 is comprised of around 900 members. Both sides didn't talk on Thursday, and there has been no chatter about further plans for them to meet. So, of course, this is all written in past tense, but I do believe that the status quo remains what has been described in the article. So, here's LL speaking on his decision to drop out from performing at this concert.
Yo, so I understand there's a lot going on in Philadelphia right now, and you know, I never, ever want to disappoint my fans, and especially in Philadelphia, y'all mean too much to me. But there's absolutely no way that I could perform, cross a picket line, and pick up money when I know that people are out there fighting for a living wage. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I've been coming to Philly my whole life. Um, you know, I have respect for the city, you know what I'm saying, of course. And I hope that, the mayor and the city can make a deal. I hope it works out. Um, I'm still gonna come to Philly in case it works out. I'm gonna be in town, y'all. But I'm just letting you know, um, I'm not gonna cross a picket line and perform for money when people are hurting. That's it. So I love y'all. I'm on my way to Philly, and peace and love.
All right, so that was LL's message on his Instagram. So yeah, he backed out of this one in support of those out there striking in Philly for better working conditions. So, what did you think of his decision to not perform on those grounds?
On the surface, man, I agree with this. He's definitely in a privileged position to not accept whatever that check was in order to make a statement there. Yeah, I didn't know that they were in a strike situation out there. I did see that their trash was piling up. I did see it online. I knew it was going, I was like, I didn't know what was going on, but I knew the trash was piling up. So it makes sense that it's the blue collar people in Philadelphia, which is well known for its blue collar lifestyle. For them to not be getting the cash or fighting over more cash or, I guess more sustainable way of living in today's economy. Yeah, man, that's I stand behind them too in solidarity. I still would have collected the check personally. I would have walked right by them, made the check, but also made a statement, probably on stage or, says something like that, if I were LL, well, if I was LL, I had the cash. Right now, I would have just take the check. But then I would say what I would say to stand in solidarity, and I'll do something afterwards to stand in solidarity with them. So all in all, I'm on the side of the workers. LL says he did this because of the workers. I do believe him that he's been going to Philadelphia his whole life. I mean, it's right there from New York. And he's an artist, so I'm sure he performs there all the time. So yeah, man, I stand with this. I think that more people should, that are in his position should also say something and lend their momentum behind this movement, because if it was just those workers fighting against these principalities, it might not pan out in their favor. And I had to look it up real quick. They're still in negotiation. So as you mentioned, nothing has resumed yet, but resolved yet. But yeah, man, I think that more people that have a mouthpiece like LL that are in that position need to do what he just did. So there might be other things that he's silent on, but this one came across his desk and he decided not to. So, I can't beat the man down, for not being, talking about other things. But this came across his desk and he didn't have to stick his neck out in order to do this. He just stood on whatever principles he had at this moment. So can't be mad at that. But what are your thoughts, man, on LL not taking the check and standing in solidarity with the workers on strike? What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I guess he could have still taken the check, but I would have preferred for him to donate it if he's going to still perform and take the check. Only, I don't know who you donate it to the union? Is that who you would donate the check to? I'm not.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work. I'm glad that he made this decision. It was a principled decision, and I'm never going to knock somebody who is willing to make sacrifices in the service of standing up for a principle within reason, because people can do some crazy stuff out here and claim that they're doing it on principle. So within reason, and we all can be, responsible adults to understand the difference between a principle within reason and a principle that is devoid of reason. And I certainly think that this qualifies as a principle within reason. So I respect it. As someone who has been a laborer the vast majority of his life, this certainly struck a chord with me, because I do think laborers are facing an existential threat, and they are in dire need of support. The things like AI and the widening wealth gap, particularly in this country, in my opinion, serve as artificial forms of natural selection. So, natural forms of natural selection like disease and natural disasters, right? Those come and go, but there's artificial forms of natural selection that are actively in play. Things like AI. These are things that are going to effectively weed out, in my opinion, sizable percentages of the population and relegate humans who earn a living or who require these various forms of earning a living useless. And people need things to do. I don't think it's okay to just, in lieu of convenience or technology, relegate entire swaths of humans obsolete. I don't like the sound of that. And I do think that laborers, workers in various industries are facing this existential crisis in which they are staring down the barrel of obsolescence. And so, if someone is going to make a sacrifice, now, obviously, what does sacrifice mean? Was this a major sacrifice to someone in his position? No, it wasn't. It was a check that he can do without, clearly. But nevertheless, it was a check that he stood to gain, and he chose not to take it in lieu of standing in solidarity with union workers. And I don't think that that's a bad show of support, because to me, it's a big picture idea around standing up against what I believe is the existential threat of human obsolescence. And I do think that the eroding of certain industries, the eroding of laborers, the erosion of workers in certain capacities, which is being exacerbated by the advent of things like AI and automation, is something that we need to deal with. And I don't think it's okay for us as collectively as a society to just be cool with rendering entire swaths of people obsolete. And so this to me is symbolic of one person at least saying, I am in support of people not being made obsolete because either the powers that be don't want to pay them a commensurate wage, or because the powers that be or whomever has decided that they're no longer needed because we can just replace them with some form of automation or technology or AI, so on and so forth. So on those grounds, I appreciate what he did here, and I stand by it. Both as someone who is not in favor of human obsolescence, but also as someone who has been a laborer for a long time and doesn't think that it's okay for us to render humans obsolete because we no longer need labor.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of trash out there. That's gonna be a hell of a cleanup, once they do decide to come back, if they decide to come back. And unions have the ability to do that. But I also think that this is a valuable lesson, as you mentioned, with all of these new changes that are on the way for how society is going to be functioning. As you mentioned, with AI and budget cuts and all these other things, just the average everyday worker is going to be out of work very soon. And the current workers are helping train the AI models and the things that are eventually replace them. And again, a union has the ability to organize a strike and have a situation where they could, I guess, compensate some people for a period of time or what have you. Like, I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I'm sure they have the ability to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the average everyday person, in a rainbows and unicorn kind of world, also put their foot down and not report. I don't know how long some people can keep that up. Me personally, I can't keep that up for too long. Maybe 2 or 3 days. But I still think that people need to stand on something, man, because right now we are feeding the beast that will replace us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, my last job that I had, bro, like at the time, I didn't know what the hell they was talking about. It was 2019, and they talking about, oh yeah, just fill this questionnaire out every time you do one of your jobs. And I was like, well, why do I have to do that? That's like extra steps. And it was like, oh, it's for the machine learning. Again, I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. I was like, whatever, man. So I was just filling it out as I was doing my job. But 3 years later, that thing was doing our job. I mean, that thing was highly functioning. It was finding stuff that I couldn't find. But it was because we were training the AI model, showing where how we made our decisions and all this other good stuff. So, these companies, they're using AI models. You may not be doing machine learning personally at your job, but trust and believe they have some type of AI model that they have working on the background where it is doing some type of machine learning to replace people's jobs. And we're just waiting for them to fire everybody.
Yeah.
And so, at some point, there has to be a moment where people go, hey, look, man, enough is enough. Like, yeah, this is where the future is headed in y'all's eyes, but that's not what the people want. So at some point, there has to be a people standing up. But again, having a union is what makes that feasible. And I don't know why there's no cross-sectional unions. Just an America's Union Party. I don't know if there is such a thing where anybody can be in there. So it don't have to be, the people in Pittsburgh, the people in Boston, the people in, Mississippi. They have their own union. The cabs union or whatever. Like if there was, a union that everybody can be a part of, I think that'll also be kind of awesome. But I don't know, man. I like them standing up for it. I like the fact that LL is bringing some type of attention to it because he could have just been a complete sleazeball and did the job and left, not said a damn thing. But at least him sparking the conversation and standing in solidarity with the people in Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is one of those, like I mentioned, blue collar workers, man. That's one of those down to earth cities, man, where what I'm saying, the people there are real cool, and you don't want to see them get railroaded, and I don't want to see trash in the street.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I hope they get their stuff together out there, and I hope the people get what they want and what they need out there, because times are hard, and a trip to the grocery store is well over $100 nowadays. So yeah, man, more power to him, man. I wish him the best.
Yeah. I have my misgivings with the entertainment industry, of course, but I was not against the work, the writers and the actors when they were striking in Hollywood. That was in what, 2023, 2024, whenever that happened. I was not against that, because people, like, as humans, we are constructed to crave social interaction, and the vast majority of us receive fulfillment through purpose. And that's basically a fancy way of saying people need things to do. So, how far are we collectively as humans going to accept advancements in technology, and new applications that make life more convenient, things that help us, things that make things easier, self-driving cars that can parallel park on their own, a robot who can clean up the house, so you no longer do it yourself, or you no longer hire a human to help you with this, or any of these sorts of things that are slowly but surely creeping into the fabric of human civilization. How far are we willing to accept the emergence of these in lieu of how it is making each of us in the flesh obsolete? So I was in favor of the writers and actors striking, and one of the things that they were looking for was AI protections. They were looking for some sort of provision to prevent what they do from being completely overtaken by automation or some form of artificial intelligence. And I hear a lot of people who argue against that say, well, AI can never replace a true, like, AI can never replace someone who's really writing from the heart, right? A person who's a writer on a movie or whatever, AI can never really replace that. I beg to differ. Because money is what determines success, not heart and soul. So if a movie studio determines that ChatGPT can write a movie script and that movie's still going to make $100 million in its opening weekend, they don't care whether that script has a soul or not. They will elect to have that script written by a machine so that they don't have to pay a writer however much writers get paid these days to write movies. I don't know how that works. So all around us, we are literally, I believe, staring down the barrel of obsolescence. And we are welcoming that by inviting all of these advancements in technology because of how convenient it allows our lives to be. And to a certain extent, I'm okay with that. But to another extent, it becomes a question of how far are we willing to take it? People need things to do. And you can't just have people out here. There's 7 billion people in the world. Like, what are we going to do? Have 7 billion people try to figure out something new to do because their job was replaced by automation? Because eventually that's what's going to happen. How feasible is that? How practical is that? I don't know, but I'm also not sure that we want to find out how practical that is. I don't think we want to be living in a world where we're finding out how practical that is. So I defend him, man. I really do. I'm not anti-technology. Hell, if you see the way I'm doing my job these days, I'm not completely anti-AI, but there's a line of demarcation with this stuff. And I feel like right now, the majority of us are just being gluttons, eating this stuff up with impunity because we can just do things so much easier and better and faster and more efficiently. But what is the human toll of that? And I know that that's a grandeur question, and not a lot of people are asking those questions. But I do think people need to start asking themselves that question. So, from that standpoint, I am in favor of what LL did here 100%, man. People need things to do, and we don't need to be living in a world where humans are obsolete. I don't think that's a world we want to be living in.
Yeah, man. Well said, bro. So, we'll see what happens, bro. And as far as, all of these places adopting automation and firing people, laying people off left and right, you think things will get cheaper. They're not. I wonder why that is. People can blame inflation, they can blame other things, but y'all cutting budgets to cut costs on production. So if you're cutting costs on production, your product should go down in theory, but that's not happening. Yeah, man, it's a big game out here that they playing, y'all. So I think standing in solidarity with one another, with whoever struggle out here, I think that serves the people well. So even if that's not your industry, your city, or your state, it still serves you to stand with them, spiritually. And if there's something that's going on in your own area or what have you, man, just it's time for the people to just stand with each other. Because I think what's been going on with this individualistic mindset that we've been trained to have since we were younger people, I think that is what's got us in this mess. And I think what's going to help get us out of it is having a more communal mindset. Because I'm telling you right now, man, whenever there's a situation where there's like a natural disaster, bro, the people keep it together so long as they know that things are going to be all right. So for instance, if there was like a hurricane or something and the power's knocked out or whatever, everybody's power knocked out, but everybody's at the gas station or everybody's at the grocery store, trying to get their water or whatever. Things are civil for now because everybody has in the back of their mind that power is going to come back on.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, if the power is not going to come back on and people are under this mindset that it won't, then we don't know what kind of chaos is going to ensue. And that chaos is ensuing due to an individualistic mindset. Now, again, a lot of this is grandiose, man. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of this is kumbaya talk. But what I'm saying is that through standing with solidarity and emotions like this and other things, man, people can have a level of compassion for the next person. And maybe the people won't go crazy so fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you right now, if there is no sign in sight for things to get back to normal, cannibalism is around the corner. People are savage, man. But right now, with us standing with each other with all of this stuff before it gets crazy, I love it. So right on with all of that stuff.
Yeah. Shouts out to LL. I like this. I support his decision to support those union workers in Philly in this manner. I don't care if it's picking up trash, teaching, social work, whatever it is, man. You work in waste management, sanitation. You are a restaurant person, service people, hospitality people. People need things to do. People need things to do. We don't just need to cast these people off or cast each other off, rather, into the abyss of nothingness in lieu of life's conveniences. I think we need to keep certain things as, as traditional as possible while also striking the balance of embracing new and emerging technologies. There's a balance there, but I feel like we're inching closer in the direction of jumping the shark. And when we eventually do jump the shark, people are going to be pointing the finger, blaming, well, this would have never happened if this had happened, or this caused this, or this person did that. This policy messed this up. This politician did this. And it's like, well, collectively as people, we brought this on by inviting a lot of this and not thinking about that when we had enough time to do something about it.
Well said, bro. Agree. Wow.
And next up, we are going to talk about an apparent rift between LeBron and Drake. The comments that we are going to be responding to are going to be comments made by Steve Urkel himself, Jaleel White, who is offering his 2 cents on why he believes LeBron seemingly betrayed Drake. So for anyone who is unaware of this, Drake and LeBron were friends. Now, were they really friends for real? Nobody knows. Only they know this. But you know how this industry stuff works. People be claiming that they friends and they ain't really friends like that. So I don't really know whether these guys were actually friends or not. They had a goofy little handshake and they always used to say hi to each other during NBA games. But were they friends for real? I don't know. But in terms of the public perception, you know, during the whole Kendrick Drake fiasco, LeBron showed up to Kendrick's the Pop Out show in LA, and Drake felt some type of way about LeBron doing that, and so now apparently they aren't friends anymore. Drake is upset because LeBron showed up to a Kendrick show, and Drake put out a freestyle, the Fighting Irish, where he dropped some lines, and people are suspecting that he's talking about LeBron throwing this is LeBron's way because LeBron elected to show up at the Kendrick show. So Jaleel White was asked about this. Jaleel White was essentially asked, if LeBron is friends with Drake, why would he knowingly show up to a Kendrick show? And Jaleel has an interesting theory on why LeBron would do such a thing. So this says Jaleel White explains why LeBron James may have switched up on Drake. Jaleel White has weighed in on Drake's new song, What Did I Miss?, on which the Toronto rapper reflects on his viral feud with Kendrick Lamar. At one point in the song, Drake seemingly references LeBron James. He raps, I saw bro went to Pop Out with them, but been DICK riding gang since headlines. Discussing the bar on the Everybody Lurks podcast, White shared his take on the situation. So I'm not going to read the quotes because I'll just play the clip. As a clip of White's comments circulated on social media, fans had mixed reactions. Betraying Drake, he was a fan of both. Drake is just sensitive, one user wrote back on X. One more wrote, so LeBron never went to a Kendrick Lamar show or never had any ties with Kendrick before the pop out. Interesting, I didn't know that. After LeBron James attended Kendrick Lamar's The Pop Out concert in Los Angeles, rumors of a rift in his friendship with Drake began to circulate. They came to a head in January of this year when Drake dropped Fighting Irish Freestyle. The title of the song appeared to be a reference to the name of James's high school basketball team. He played for St. Vincent St. Mary High School in Akron, Ohio. And so the rest of the article just goes into bars that Drake dropped on this Fighting Irish Freestyle. So here is Jaleel speaking on his theory as to why LeBron showed up to Kendrick's The Pop Out show. So listen to this because this is pretty much what we're going to be responding to.
Drake and LeBron are friends, supposedly. LeBron goes to the Kendrick concert, and now Drake feels very betrayed. I can't figure out, unless something happened behind the scenes before that, why does he go to that concert knowing everyone's going to be like, unless you're trying to make a point that you don't like your friend anymore.
There are some celebrities who are drawn to what's hot. No different than any regular. Like, yo, that's hot. That's hot. Yeah. I gotta be near that. And then there's another celebrity that is drawn to what serves them on a human level. Like, I don't care if that's hot. Does that serve me? Do I belong in that room? How does that serve me? I'm gonna let you extract from that what you want, but it clearly answers. It clearly answers your question. I think he was drawn to what was extremely hot,
right?
Yeah, at the time.
It's almost like you couldn't. You're saying like it was almost like there's a version where he might not have been able to help it. Like, how could I miss this?
No, I said there's different celebrities.
Yeah,
right. I said there's somebody. I'm a different person. It doesn't make one better than the other. It's just you got to recognize we all have different personalities. And I'm saying like there's certain people I don't care how hot their event is. If I don't jive with what they are,
yeah,
I ain't going in there.
Right.
All right. Like it could be the hottest thing going, but if what they stand for is just not what represents me, or we have a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
You know, like they mistreated somebody that I know, or this, you know what I'm saying, or then I'm just not going to go.
Right.
But there's another professional public figure that's the hottest spot to be. I'm going to be.
All right, so the video was sped up. Obviously, I think the video was sped up in all likelihood to avoid any copyright flags. But Jaleel was essentially saying there's two different types of celebrities. There's a celebrity who is just going to go with what's hot and trendy and popular, and then there's the type of celebrity who, no matter how hot or popular something is, if me being associated with that puts me in a position in which I'm no longer standing on business, I'm not going to do it. And so Jaleel wasn't necessarily speculating that LeBron is the type of person who just gravitates towards what's hot and popular in lieu of standing on business. But he still speculated that that's a part of the equation. So he kind of did the politically correct thing where he wasn't overtly saying LeBron's on this, but he did try to explain potentially why LeBron might elect to do that, despite the fact that him and Drake are friends. So I thought that those were interesting comments. What did you make of what Mr. White had to say about that?
I mean, I agree. And if Jaleel was just alluding to it, I'll just go ahead and take it all the way there. That's exactly what's going on here. Now, I don't know what's going on a granular level. I don't know what's going on in the minutia, in the weeds of it all. But I can guarantee you this, that is definitely a contributing factor. That LeBron James, he rides whatever's hot. You can tell how he talks nowadays, bro. Like he still talk like he's in high school. And not high school back in 2003. He talks like he's currently in high school now. So he rides whatever's hot, man. He doesn't give a damn. And so him switching sides like that, it shouldn't be a surprise to Drake. But again, when you're Drake and you have a man tattooed on you like he does, of course you'll get offended because you guys thought you were real brothers. According to his lyrics in Fighting Irish, they was trading scallywags, or he would pass him some scallywags. So I'm pretty sure these two went on a few two-mans together. So I know that Drake has taken this quite personally. He thought he had him.
Academics probably the one that found the girls for him to two-man with.
Hey, wow, who knows, man? But one thing about it, academics wish he could be in the two-man with Drake.
Academics want to be in a one-man with Drake.
Exactly, bro. So you know what I'm saying? So Drake, man, that's the type of lifestyle he lives, man, because Drake is a fanboy. Drake was fanboying over LeBron. These two are peas in a pod, two peas in a pod. All right. So he figured that he had him one here because these two are both people that appear to be lacking substance. That substance that Jaleel White was referring to of how does this serve me? Because one thing that Drake has done his entire career, you know what I'm saying? Well, I won't say his entire career because when he first came out, it seems as though he had a little bit of substance. But as time wore on, you saw exactly where he stood, and he became some industryite, and all of his music at that point consisted of zero substance. Where he's constantly playing the victim, constantly crying and whining how he's being mistreated by all of these people that claim they love him. And right now, this LeBron situation is no different. This just gave him new content to talk about. The same content he's been talking about for the last 10 years. To me, is redundant and old, and he needs to get over it, but he won't. And to touch again on the LeBron aspect real quick, hit the nail on the head. To me, LeBron is a person that, although he has a wife, children who are healthy and they look good and he's taking care of them, you know what I'm saying? He's doing a good job when it comes to that, but there seems to be an arrested development with him as a person. He seemed to have never grown out of that mean girls energy that he has, where he has to be the top, the big honcho. Whenever he's in the locker room where he's on a team, he has to call the shots. He has to set the tone. Everybody's mimicking his behavior on the sidelines. he's acting and jumping around like a freaking AAU kid instead of a grown ass professional man. So he's always carried that energy around. So of course he's going to hop sides. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the hottest record in the last decade. So of course LeBron couldn't resist. But what are your thoughts, man, on what Jaleel White had to say? Possibly speculating that Sir LeBron here just can't seem to keep it in the pants and hop on whatever's hot in the streets. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, boy, you flaming on LeBron, man.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
let me go ahead and pile on. I agree with you. Not too long, I don't know when we did this. We did a topic, and I don't think J. Cole was the subject of the video, but we eventually got onto the topic of J. Cole. I forget who we were talking about, and I remember saying that, in reference to J. Cole, being a principled individual is burdensome. It's a burden. It's much easier to live through life without principle, because when you're principled, you have to navigate certain terrains in life, still wanting to be successful, still wanting to be fruitful and multiply, but also having to delicately balance whether you want to be friends with certain people, whether you're okay with not being well liked, whether you're okay with being polarizing. And I find that most people who live a principled existence are also the same people who don't need to be friends with everybody. They're the same people who don't mind expressing polarizing points of view. They don't mind living in their truth, even if living in their truth means you're alienating other people. You kind of have to be who you are and live with your truth, and then let everything else fall by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
It's far easier to do the opposite, where you can live life devoid of principle, because then you can just be friends with everybody. You can just conform. You can go along to get along, not really be controversial, not really be honest, not really be truthful, because what you care more than being truthful is maintaining superficial relationships, because you care about whether people like you or not. You care about whether people find you to be a nice, compliant person. You don't want to rub people the wrong way. You don't want to say the wrong thing. And the reason why I believe I was bringing that up with J. Cole is because he deals with identity crisis as an artist. He wants to be somebody who lives Drake's lifestyle, but he's not necessarily built for it. So he's constantly trying to strike a delicate balance between living his truth through his music, but also trying to still be a rapper. And I feel like that cognitive dissonance that he experiences comes through in his music sometimes. LeBron is not somebody who deals with that cognitive dissonance. LeBron is somebody who very much cares what people think about him. He very much cares about his image. He very much wants to be liked. He very much wants to not alienate people. And he very much wants to straddle fences so that people love and adore him. And so, in saying that, that kind of person does gravitate towards things that's hot, because he wants to be a part of any in crowd that he can find himself in.
Yes.
Why not be a part of basking in the enjoyment of Not Like Us? Maybe he can get Kendrick to be another one of his superficial friends, because he wants to be well liked by everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he wants to be operating in as many social circles as possible because he cares about those things. And so what we have here is a case of, a person who dabbles in superficial relationships offending another individual who also dabbles in superficial relationships. And so it's become a bit of a combustible situation, but these two individuals will I believe they will find their way back to one another, because they are two peas in the same pod. I've said before, I really do find a lot of similarities between LeBron and Drake. They're both extremely passive aggressive. They both engage in sneak disses. They both try to orchestrate things to undermine people behind the scenes so that they can engage in plausible deniability when asked about it, as if they never had anything to do with it. They both do these things. They both share in that they do a lot of this stuff. And so they have a lot of things in common in terms of their personality traits. So I kind of feel like at a certain point, they'll figure out a way to let bygones be bygones, because I don't really know how much they're actually friends to begin with. I think they operate on a certain level of superficiality.
Agreed.
And when you're operating on that plane of superficial existence, you can find the most superficial reasons to become friends again. It won't be that hard for them to find their way back to one another. So I hear where Jaleel is coming from. I take from Jaleel's comments the dichotomy between being principled and being someone who cares not for these things. And it's not to say that being principled is the worst way to live. It's just to say that you're either like that or you're not. Like, we are who we are. And I think you're either built in this world to be someone who thinks about these things conscientiously, or you're built to be somebody who kind of navigates through life seeking superficial, artificial, sort of, social attainment. And LeBron looks to be the person who seeks the artificial, superficial social attainment. And so that's why he would attend the Pop Out show, even though him and Drake are supposed to be buddies. Because even if him and Drake are supposedly buddies, he can't resist the opportunity to make a new friend elsewhere, because he's not really operating on a particular plane of principled existence. He's just kind of out here floating, seeking superficial reinforcement. And so I agree with what Jaleel White had to say, as zesty as his book cover is.
Come on, man. He's emulating Mike, bro.
Yeah, why not? So yeah, despite his zesty book cover, I concur with everything that he had to say there.
Yeah, man. And as far as, and I agree, bro, because as we mentioned, now this isn't just relegated to LeBron as far as that hopping on whatever's hot thing, not having principle kind of thing, because that has been Drake's entire career. Not only the fact of having superficial friends, but in a sense that he'll hop on a track that's not even his, because it's out and it's hot and it's doing numbers, and he's gotta hop on it. And so what he'll do is, and what he's been doing is hopping on whatever's been hot for the past 10 years. So if there's a song while Drake is at the top of the game, but it's doing numbers and it's climbing the chart, he has to find a way to be on there. He'll befriend the person. He'll do whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? Put him in an OVO sweatshop, whatever it takes, in order to get what he wants out of the situation. On top of that, so it doesn't just stop with LeBron with his fake ass friendships and relationships, because as I mentioned, for the past, his entire career, honestly, has been him crying and playing victim of how all of his fake friends do him wrong. At some point, somebody's got to look into the mirror. Everybody's not coming towards you to treat you wrong if you don't have that wrongness inside you in the first place to be friends with such fake ass people. So him sitting there always crying victim and stuff like that is what we like to talk about when we talk about women and having a lack of accountability.
Absolutely,
and that's been his entire damn career. So this situation right here, where you're befriending somebody out here that's going to give high five and secret handshakes to everybody he know, even though he's well into his 30s, y'all on some weird time energy. So if you can't see somebody like that won't stab you in the back, you a weirdo in the first place. I can't sit here and feel sorry for you. I go in the comment section of the Drake video, and the first comment that's up there says, "Oh, don't switch sides now. Stay over there where you were at." As if that song was hot. Somebody in the comment section said, "Bro, what are you, 12? Of course they're freaking 12 years old. They're 12 years old, and they're sitting there buying that soap from that girl, splacking off in some splack dungeon." You know what I'm saying? And so all of these people out here, that not all Drake fans, because there's still some people that hold on to some of that because they like the stuff or whatever. Not every Drake fan is a weirdo, but weirdos are Drake fans. You know what I'm saying? And so when because he has weirdo energy, and so he has his whole entire personality is fake. So that's why all his women is fake. That's why everybody turns their back on him. So of course he befriended a fake ass person like LeBron, who has stabbed his own friends in the league in the back. He's done weird stuff there. Hey man, you part of the brotherhood, you part of the fraternity. One of your boys getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, you better show up. You know what I'm saying? But he'll not show up to somebody thing. He'll do some other sideways, some other weird stuff. That's who LeBron is. And so he's only going to be there if it serves him, serves his agenda. And so him popping up to the pop-out thing, oh yeah, I'm in LA, man. It's a California thing. I can't not show up to this. You know what I'm saying? This is the hottest record in a decade. Of course I gotta pop out. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I'm part of this. Woo, 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 I'm LeBron. And it's like, come on, bro. You're a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you go over there and take the L with your boongie partner? But of course he couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. As we mentioned, bro, these guys are on two sides of the same coin. You know what I'm saying? One is just in athletics, the other person's in a rap game. One person is married, one person really isn't. You know what I'm saying? But they're both representing the same type of energy, which is why they're friends in the first place. And if they don't become, yeah, exactly. And so if they don't ever mend this again, they'll have their own superficial things going on elsewhere. So, yeah, man, can't feel sorry for either one of these bums. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what their net worth is, how far their reach is. Both of these guys are absolute clowns because they don't stand on principles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So kick rock, Drake. Get the hell out of here, man.
Yeah, and that's what their fan base will tell you is, well, you're broke, so whatever. You know, like as if that's a legitimate response to any of your critiques. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I just think that this was one superficial person offending the sensibilities of another superficial person.
Yep.
And the thing about it is, if you aren't a superficial person, then the actions of superficial people won't offend you because you'll know the place that they come from.
Exactly.
But either one of these individuals couldn't recognize that because they operate from a baseline existence of superficiality. So it would make sense. And like I said before, I think any sort of rift between the two is in all likelihood short-lived because they'll find their way back to one another because that's what fake people do. They reconvene to continue the fakeness.
Yeah, some people can't be on two mans alone.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, only people who really do have a code that they live by recognize what they will not allow to compromise their code, and if that line does get crossed, then things will change irrevocably. But people who don't live that way don't even recognize it because they don't have a line that they cross in the sand. A line for them doesn't exist. So when there is a line that doesn't exist, there's nothing to cross. And when there's nothing to cross, there's nothing to prevent them from finding themselves as friends again. So I hear all of that. And I concur with Mr. Jaleel White. And I think they'll be friends again because they're not actually friends anywhere. They're just fake friends, which is ironic because didn't Drake have that song talking about fake friends?
All his songs fake friends.
yeah. Drake done has songs, fake friends, fake love, whatever he said in that song. Say it to my face. Well, you're the living personification of your own music, sir. So I guess he would know better than others.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But these are two fake guys who will, become fake friends in short order, in my opinion. Shouts out to Dudley on the chat.
Yeah.
Dudley said, back in the days, billionaires used to just sit in their golden towers and operate in the evil shadows and not give a care. Now the LeBrons, Trumps, Musk, and Bezos want to be like too. These people are just ultimate narcissists. They can't help but insatiably desire to be liked by everybody. And when you care about being liked by everybody, you will be consumed by fakeness and superficial relationships.
Yeah, can't make everybody happy, but these bastards damn sure try.
Yeah, you can. You can when you're not doing it for real.
Exactly. No, nobody gets a shout out. I guess Jaleel White does on that.
Yeah, shouts out to Jaleel. Yeah.
Sure.
All right, and now we got Paul Pierce. Now we got the truth. We got the truth. The truth. Paul Pierce giving some bold, beyond hot takes on his television show on Fox Sports. The worst show on Fox Sports, in my opinion.
Hands down. Hands down.
They need to cancel this show. That's not the point of this video, though. The point of this video is not to bash the Speak show, but it is the worst show on sports. They do need to get rid of it. But Paul Pierce, on a recent episode of Speak, they were talking about Kevin Durant's appearance on LeBron's The Shop show, and LeBron was talking about Kevin Durant's abilities as a scorer, and he was basically waxing poetically. He was glazing, if you will. LeBron was glazing Kevin Durant about how effortless his abilities as a scorer are or is. And Paul Pierce chimed on during the discussion when they were reacting to the clip on the Speak show. And essentially what Paul Pierce said was, I might be the best pure scorer in the history of the league. And if you want to have a conversation talking about pure scores, you got to throw me in there because I'm that guy. To quote Cam Newton. So here's what Paul Pierce had to say. So this says Paul Pierce says he was probably the best pure scorer in NBA history. Excuse me. Paul Pierce believes he deserves his flowers. While being grilled about his skill set by co-host Keyshawn Johnson, Pierce made sure to mention that he won the 2010 three-point contest in addition to checking off every other box. So I'm skipping through the quotes because I'm going to play the clip. Pierce argued that Durant's efficiency as a scorer stems from his near 7-foot stature, allowing him to shoot uncontested jumpers over shorter defenders. When Durant appeared on a recent episode of Mind the Game podcast, James spoke highly of KD's efficiency and ability as a 3-level scorer who can hit perimeter and mid-range shots while also finishing at the rim. So here is Paul Pierce's. Here's what Paul Pierce said. Well, maybe it makes more sense to play what LeBron said first.
That's fair.
Okay, so let's play that one first.
He hasn't. I don't want to speak like you're not here, but you're so great. I like to do it sometimes.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
He hasn't shot under 50% since like 2012. And in a league that doesn't talk about efficiency enough, because I'm one of those efficiency guys. Like I hate going out there just chucking up, looking at the box score, and I was maybe 8 for 23 or 9 for 25 or 6 for 18. Like, you're going to have those nights for sure. Yeah. For the majority of the season, like, being efficient, is something I've always prided myself on. And this guy is, when it comes to 3-level score, 3-pointers, mid-range, below the Gary Payton area, below the Malone area, and finishing. It's we haven't had a scorer as equipped as KD in our league.
I appreciate that.
Ever.
Yeah, he can never pass up an opportunity to make it about himself. And then here's Paul Pierce's take on this, where he basically glazes himself.
I was probably the best pure scorer ever in the history of the game, because I was pretty equipped. When I think about it, I'm just saying, like,
Could you pull up from the elbow?
I need to be in this conversation.
Could you pull up from the elbow?
I got all that.
Down the three.
All that.
Could you back him down?
Contest champ.
Could you turn around?
All of that. Post up.
Could you dunk?
All of that. I was shoot, and I must have been one of the most equipped. Look, here we go. Boom. Who's this? I'm to the rack.
Okay.
3 people.
I ain't got to show a Laker highlight, but I get it.
Yeah, look. Oh, let me see. Go over your head.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty.
This is equipped. Oh, you want game winners? Wop, wop, wop. Here we go. Like, I'm trying to figure out
what was your efficiency?
Yeah, like, I think, when he talking about his efficiency, because I shot more bad shots than Kevin.
Yeah, you was just hot dogging. You wasn't as clean.
No, I shot more bad shots. But Kevin, because he's 7 feet, he can get his shot off on anybody. He don't really see defense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's why he's so efficient. There's nobody at his height on the perimeter. He changed the way we look at perimeter. He pretty much changed the game on the perimeter. Like, being a 7'2" guard, you know what I'm saying? That's like come on, the biggest 2 guard when I came in was like 6'5", 6'6".
Dirk was what, a 3?
Dirk was a 4 man.
Was he a 4?
Yeah, he's 7. He playing center. He a center playing at the point guard, 2 guard. You know what I'm saying? So all his matchups and the way he shoot the ball and gets it all, he efficient with it. So I can see why LeBron would say that. But shoot, you got to put me in that talk when we talk about most equipped scorers now. Come on, Bron.
You got to put your hand right though. You
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to.
Come
on, bro.
Oh man. Are you with Paul Pierce on this one? You think he has to be mentioned?
This is 100% rage bait. All right, he is trying to piss off the internet, which he did with this outrageous take. There's hot takes, and then there's molten magma takes, and this was absolutely ridiculous. The truth-telling fables on this one. Joy Taylor had to intervene, and rightfully so, question him about his efficiency. Yeah, bro, you can shoot from the elbow fading away, whatever the hell, right? But how efficient were you? And then, of course, he has to come in and say, all right, man, I took more bad shots than him. Facts. All right. He's taller than you. He's taller than me. It's like, okay, so, oh, yeah, he's getting his shots off more. And it's like, yeah, but we're still neglecting the fact that you took a lot of bad shots. Because you did have your own mismatches yourself, Paul Pierce. So I don't want to hear that as well. Listen, man, at the end of the day, Paul Pierce was who he was. He was a high volume shooter. He was able to hit shots in the clutch. I'll give him that. You know, he was annoying as hell to play against. So I'll give him that. You got to be good to be annoying to me, especially if you're playing against a rival team of mine. So Paul, he was no slouch while he was in the league, but at the same time, you can't sit there and say that you were the best scorer. Now, granted, man, you know, I don't know how big your ego can get, you know, averaging like 23, 24 in the NBA. You know, you must think very highly of yourself. You know, I think highly of myself for days where I couldn't miss at LA Fitness. Okay. So I can only imagine averaging 20 over seasons in the NBA. You think pretty highly of yourself. So I'm not judging him for that. But at some point, you have to be realistic, man. I don't want to get into the narratives of KD being the best purest scorer or whatever. Like, I don't want to get into that. Does he have a smooth game? Yes, he does. That is a smooth looking jumper. When it's going in, it looks great. You know what I'm saying? When he gets to his little spot and he pull up and he shoot, that's great. But when it comes to other areas of his game, I don't think he has much of a post game. You know what I'm saying? He'll post you and fade away, but that's when his height comes into play. But I don't see him doing any under scoops, any finger rolls around the basket. I don't see him absorbing contact and doing things that, you know, he don't get busy down there. He's pretty much on the wing pulling up because he's tall. But it's a pretty looking game, much like how people like to get enamored by Paul George nowadays because he has a pretty looking game. But pretty doesn't always mean it's pure. I guess it's pure in the sense that it's pretty. But now, Paul Pierce had more of a janky looking game, but he's very unathletic. And, you know, he was able to score even though he wasn't athletic and it was janky. But at the same time, I'm not rating this off of whose game looks the prettiest. I'm rating this off who was actually the most skilled scorer. And I'll let you go. But me personally, off the top of my head right now, I mean, you know, I'm no, you know, Jordan yuppie, man, but the guy was a hell of a scorer, bro. High volume, and he was very efficient, and he got busy in every area. Kobe got busy in every area. So those guys to me were better pure scorers. So yeah, man, I think that this was just rage bait from Paul Pierce. Trying to speak some views. I mean, they're down to Keyshawn Johnson. So when Joy Taylor is the smartest person on your panel, you're in trouble. But what are your thoughts, man, on Paul Pierce saying that, put him up there as the most purest scorer in NBA history, man? What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, the problem with this is the use of all of these qualifiers. Pure. What is a pure score? So explain to me, not you, but just generally speaking, what is a pure score? And what's the difference between a pure score and a score? Like, why throw that word in there?
And let me hop in real quick, because that narrative stuff started. I don't know when it started, but then people will be like, "Oh, Carmelo Anthony's a pure scorer." I'm like, what does that mean?
I don't know. It doesn't mean any. You know what it means? That's a way to give flowers to somebody who scores but doesn't do anything else. Like that's what that means. Because why? What is the use of the word pure? You're either good at score. You're either prolific at scoring or you're not.
Correct.
What is it with these weirdo qualifiers like pure and equipped? Why put these words? Why use weird words like that? Just talk about who was really good at scoring.
Right.
That's a weird way to do it. But yeah, that's a narrative-driven aspect of NBA coverage and NBA talking points that further makes how weird it is these days to even talk about the NBA very clear and obvious and evident. So what I do is I just eliminate these words. I don't care about words like pure or equipped. I'm just looking in a vacuum, players who are prolific, who are great at scoring the ball. And when I do that, Paul Pierce is not even close to being among
he's
the
not.
best ever. And he talks about, now he couched it towards the end by saying he has to be in the conversation, but he started it off by saying he's the best pure scorer ever, which is just an outlandish statement to make, but not one that is far beyond the pale for Paul Pierce, who is inclined to say outlandish things on television from time to time. But the one thing that I will give Paul Pierce credit for, and you mentioned this, for someone as ground bound and unathletic as him, he was still able to get his shot off whenever he wanted. And I always respected that about him, because typically the greatest scorers ever are able to jump over you or get by you because they're so either quick or athletic or both. He was neither quick nor athletic, yet he could still get his shot off. There's a skill to that, so I give him credit for that. But as in terms of just being able to just put the ball in the hole at a prolific rate, he is not on the level of in my life, and this is just my opinion, but in my opinion, in my lifetime of watching basketball, the most perfect offensive basketball player I ever watched was Kobe. In terms of there were no holes in his game offensively. Threes, mid-range, post up, left shoulder, right shoulder, finishing with either hand. I mean, the guy ripped his rotator cuff and went back into a game and was shooting left-handed for the rest of the game and was still making the shots. So, free throws, he was great from the free throw line. And to your point, if you went on the block, especially when he was in his athletic prime, it wasn't always fadeaways and jumpers.
Right.
He'd get you on his hip and then just try to bully you in if he had a physical advantage. He was trying to get to the cup, trying to get fouled. And then he would convert them free throws. And then if he had a smaller guy on him, he'd take him outside. And whether it was facing up, whether it was on the block, whether it was a perimeter shot, 17, 18 feet, he could just do anything offensively.
Yeah.
Another person who I think of in that vein is Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady could just fill it up however way you wanted. It didn't matter what you tried to do to limit him offensively. He could just score whenever he wanted to. Jordan was the same, but I kind of feel as jump shooters, and Jordan sycophants aren't going to like this. And I like Jordan. I'm a Jordan fan. But in terms of being a shooter, Kobe and T-Mac to me are above Jordan in terms of being a shooter. But Jordan was just sublime in terms of his ability to score in every other way, that if you wanted to argue Jordan was a better prolific scorer than either of those guys, I wouldn't argue against it. But those three guys immediately come to my mind as well. And then Kevin Durant as well, also better at scoring the ball than Paul Pierce to me. My point is Paul Pierce isn't near the top of that list.
No.
In terms of people scoring the ball. I could even go back to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who didn't shoot, but he had a move that you could not stop. And it didn't matter what you did to try to game plan against it. He still made it, which is why, despite the fact that he only scored 2-pointers up until a year ago, he scored the most points ever. Like, there's something to that. So, yeah, Paul Pierce ain't up there. Like I said, I give him credit for being ground bound, but still able to put the ball in the hole and find his shot. But there's at least 10, 15, maybe 20 people who I would name before him if you gave me time, who I thought of as better at just putting the ball in the hole than him. Another guy, and efficiency tends to hurt this guy from the conversation, but he could still just put it in, and he was small, was Iverson. Iverson wasn't the most efficient player in the world, but for somebody who was 5'11", 6 feet, he still got his shot off and could get to the rim and shoot. It was amazing what he could do because he was routinely scoring on guys 6-7 inches taller than him, but he could still get it off anyway, which was just insane to me. So, yeah, I don't know what Paul Pierce got going on, but he's just a gas bag at this point. And so he's going to do what he does. But no, I do not agree. He is not the most pure scorer in NBA history, nor is he amongst the most pure scorers in NBA history.
Yeah, he falls in line with one of the more annoying players that have been in recent history, at least for me. But again, he was annoying because he was good, but he shouldn't be good.
It's because of how it looked. It just looked like it shouldn't be good.
Yeah, and then I was like, bro, stop this, man. And then he'll hit a game winner on your ass. So, and again, like you were saying, bro, there's something to that, man. So there's no shade, there's no throwing him under the bus as him being a person that was in the NBA and deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. But at the same time, bro, like let's pump our brakes here. You know what I'm saying? But I chalk all this stuff up to rage bait and trying to get ratings, bro. Like he knew this was going to be a viral moment, for better or for worse. And of course, it landed on the worst for him because I've seen people actually making skits out of this, making fun of him. People having entire think pieces on this, just throwing him under the bus. So yeah, nobody was actually going for this. Even the biggest Celtic Paul Pierce stans would sit there and go, "Come on, Paul. You know that you're not." I mean, Wade was a better scorer than Paul Pierce was, and so because if Dwayne Wade, because Wade was so busy trying to do other stuff, but if Wade took as many shots as Paul Pierce did, you know what I'm saying? He would have been doing what Paul Pierce was doing. He would have been blowing the guy out of the water when it comes to all of that stuff.
Well, remember Wade after the Shaq era, before the LeBron era.
That's right.
Wade led the league in scoring for a year.
That's
I think
right.
it was like 06 or 07, one of them years.
That's
but
right.
he led the whole league. So Wade actually has a scoring title.
All right.
So for sure, if there were more years where Wade was singularly the guy on the team throughout his career, especially when he was in his prime, you can clearly make the case that he was better at scoring than Paul Pierce.
Right. And of course, Wade is this guy's nemesis. He thinks he's better than Wade. But nah, bro, you're not better than him. And but that's okay, man. You can't be somebody, as you mentioned, low to the ground as he was and unathletic as he was, and did what he did in the league if you didn't think highly of yourself. And that was his whole thing while he was out there scoring, getting buckets, and in a playoff game dropping 30 on you. It's like, come on, man, stop this guy. But he thinks so much of himself that he was wielding a lot of that stuff in the basket. So it's funny to see how it plays out as him being a gas bag on Fox. It never turns off. And we've seen him in his robe. We've seen him in his robe on his own podcast, just being full of himself.
Yeah.
So this is who he is as a individual, as a personality. love him or hate him, he's going to say what he feels, and he thinks he's better than all of you.
Yeah.
So,
I can't knock him for that, but he's wrong. Like
he's very wrong.
Just because I can't knock him for feeling that way, it doesn't make him right.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I'm looking at some of these guys here. Like, he's not a better scorer than Dirk.
No.
He's not a better scorer. Like, Shaq was not a shooter, but in his physical prime, Shaq was a more unstoppable scorer than Paul Pierce. I don't like this guy personally, but I feel like James Harden was better at scoring than Paul Pierce.
But you're right.
Yeah, I'm not a James Harden fan. Don't like his game, but I'm not saying that Paul Pierce is a better scorer than James Harden. Steph, he's not better at scoring than Steph.
Not even close.
Not even, yeah, and that's a no-brainer right there. So yeah, you already mentioned Wade. So and then there's active players right now who I would already say are better at scoring than him. People like Giannis and SGA. So like, it is what it is, bro. I don't knock him. He's a one-of-a-kind person, this Paul Pierce fella. But he's insane. If he actually tried to argue that with any merit, not on a TV show around knowledgeable people, he'd get ran out of the room. So
that's why I keep trying to like, oh, you pulled up from the elbows, like, bro, he lived on the elbow. That's all he damn did. Keyshawn, I don't know how he's on the air still. He doesn't know anything about sports. He don't even know about football. That's a bum. Damn, boy. I can't stand it.
Hey, man, that's what, yeah. That show is not good.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know what they got going on, but yeah, I immediately turn the channel whenever they put that show on. But hey, look, man, shouts out to Paul Pierce on this, the truth. I admire the bravado and the self-confidence, bro, but you are nowhere near one of the best scorers in the history of the league. And I'm not even throwing the word pure in there. That's a ridiculous qualifier. There is no need to throw these weird words into the conversation. You were either great at scoring or you weren't.
Now, if you want to have a clutch conversation, he's much higher on that list than some of those people that we named, and he's higher than KD. So if you want to throw himself, he should have qualified himself in a different area. But trust me, the clutch conversation is coming anyway. So.
Yeah, nah, no. In his head, he believes overall as a scorer, he was better than them people.
That's true.
Yeah. And now we have some weird internet drama involving these two individuals, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs. I think we covered them in some varying capacity a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, when he was on that boat.
The boat with the pink substance. That's right. People spend a lot of time on the internet and social media. Did you know, by the way, as an aside, that there are people who are actually paid as a job to keep up with celebrity social media accounts? So there are people who are actually paid to notice, for example, that Cardi B removed Stefon Diggs' stuff from her page.
No, I didn't.
And then that's how this stuff gets out there as news, quote unquote. There's actually people who are paid to do that as a job.
That's crazy.
That we are living in strange times. But yeah, so this hit the celebrity waiver wire because there was speculation that these two individuals are no longer dating one another because Cardi B removed everything Stefon Diggs related from her Instagram. And so there was all kinds of hoopla and speculation as to the nature of what's going on with them, whether they're still together, whether they've broken up, blah, 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 blah. And Cardi B has come forward to clear the air, kind of, sort of, by posting a video of them training in the gym together, I think is what they were doing. And so I guess for a lot of people who are fans of this, it sets the record straight. But this was just more ancillary conversation stemming from these two individuals' social media activity, or more specifically, Cardi B's social media activity. So this says Cardi B seemingly sets the record straight amid Stefon Diggs' breakup rumors. Earlier this week, Cardi B's fans noticed that she cleared her Instagram profile of any and all posts featuring her new boo, Stefon Diggs. Unsurprisingly, this resulted in rumors that the two of them decided to go their separate ways. Her ex Offset even hopped online to throw what seemed like shade amid the speculation. Quote, "You can't get rid of me. I'm like cancer. You can't get rid of the cancer," he declared on Instagram Live. "I'm harder than all you P words."
Hysterical.
Now, however, it looks like Cardi B has finally set the record straight. Recently, she reposted a fun video of her and Diggs working out together, as captured by Hollywood Unlocked. While this isn't undeniable proof that they're still an item, it certainly seems to suggest that's the case. For the most part, the FemC supporters are glad to hear that there's likely no truth to all of this breakup buzz. I'm not going to read any of that. Other commenters are speculating that Cardi cleared out any posts featuring Diggs to make room to promote her upcoming album, Am I the Drama? The Bronx artist officially announced the project last month, dropping off its bold cover art and even revealing a release date. Fans can expect to hear it all in full on September 19th. In April, she teased what's to come, telling listeners that they can look forward to some exciting features. "I feel like it's going to really, really surprise y'all," she said in part on Twitter Spaces at the time. "I can tell y'all this, I'm 100% confident with this album." As for Diggs, he hasn't addressed any of the speculation about his relationship with Cardi B or deleted any posts featuring the rapper from his social media profiles. All right, so what do you is this all's good in the neighborhood between them two, even though she scrubbed her account? Or do you think that there might be more to what's going on with this?
I mean, I think this is just typical. I think this is just typical celebrity, just trying to stay in, on the algorithms type of situation, because she does have an album come out. So this is part of her rollout. This whole fight situation with Offset, this whole dating Stefon Diggs thing, all of this stuff is part of her rollout. Just to let everybody know that, hey, I got an album on the way, y'all. There were some nasty rumors out there circulating about this situation. Now, as you mentioned, bro, these internet sleuths are the ones that get paid to do these things, apparently, which I didn't know.
It's so weird.
Yeah, found out that Cardi B had scrubbed Stefon. So then there were all of these nasty rumors about Stefon leaving because of Cardi B's BBL odors. So, which to me was absolutely hysterical. So I got a good laugh out of that. There was quite a few people post on it, but the sources didn't look reliable. It didn't look like a real post. Some of the conversation in there was a little extreme, but overall, it was still a situation of, well, Stefon is used to dealing with BBL odors in the first place. If they already are giving off these smells, it's not something that Stefon is against. Apparently, he clearly lives that life. So, but overall, man, this seems like their whole situation seems publicity stuntish, situation shipish, nothing serious here. Offset can have his moment because I think he's either came out with music or is coming out with music himself. Still doesn't have the same kind of buzz that Cardi's got. But all in all, man, I think that these people, all of them, bro, are in a situation, as we mentioned, with LeBron and Drake, in a situation of there's no real friendships here. There's no real love here. And Cardi and Offset never really had a real marriage. These people are just living their celebrity lives and being messy on top of it. So, yeah, more internet stuff out there, but I would just tell the people that, these are just more internet distractions and more, publicity stunts. But what are your thoughts, man, on this whole debacle going on with Cardi B and Stefon Diggs and Offset and all that stuff, man? What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say that, I just feel like this is an industry relationship. and industry relationships are more superficial than solid. And oftentimes these things are formulated as part of a business pact that is mutually beneficial to all parties involved. They'll get together and they'll date, and they might actually be dating each other for real, but it's also, in addition to that, a business relationship, because the association that they have with one another is mutually beneficial, in my opinion. When you're in that celebrity space, it literally pays to always be trending on social networks and always on platforms like YouTube and Spotify and so on and so forth. It literally puts more ends in these individuals' pockets. And especially for someone in Stefon Diggs' position, whose career at the moment can go either way. He's coming off of an ACL surgery, and he's no longer viewed as a top-tier receiver in the league. So Diggs is at a point now in his career in which, if he does not perform and put up numbers and positively impact winning, he could very well be headed into the territory of, you can be cut at any moment, bro. Like Diggs is on his way to Odell Beckham territory.
Yeah.
There's a lot, because he still I think he's still good, but his production in recent years has declined. And on top of that, he tore his ACL last year. So you know how this stuff is, especially in the NFL. It ain't that long of a career once that kind of stuff starts happening to you. And Odell Beckham went from being one of the most popular receivers in the league, who's also in high demand, to being somebody who routinely doesn't make it past 1 year of a contract. Whether he was on the Dolphins or the Ravens, after that season that he signs with the team, it's a wrap for him. He's gone. So Diggs could potentially be headed into that direction. And when you're potentially headed in that direction, you have to diversify as many of your bonds as possible to remain relevant, including engaging in a superficial celebrity relationship with a loudmouthed, routinely trending hip hop personality. Because I don't put her in the rapper category. I put her in the hip hop star category. I don't look at her as a rapper. And so I feel like whether the two of these individuals are actually dating or not, it's mostly a mutually beneficial business transaction, in my opinion, that they might receive ancillary benefits via their physical proximity on the side. And I, in saying that, obviously people shouldn't believe everything that they read or hear or see with respect to either one of these people's social media activities, because it very well could be part of the orchestrated stunt to keep the train moving in terms of dividends that this kind of behavior and activity directly pays them by doing these kinds of things on social media. I mean, for all we know, she scrubbed her account on purpose, knowing that it was going to make news in this particular capacity. Yep. So this kind of stuff to me tends to be very calculated, and people get swept up in the madness and believe that it's actually stuff that's happening for real, when it's really just part of the stunt, the script. It really is reality television playing out in real time. It's scripted social media stuff. It's not really real. And yeah, I think that that's what you get when you engage in superficiality, which I do believe this is a case of.
100%, man. And Stefon, as you mentioned, bro, he's on the Odell Beckham plan. He got caught with a mysterious substance like OBJ, and now, coming off of an injury, turning into a journeyman. This is like the steps of being out of the league. So, using this situation here to potentially get into his next line of business, which is reality TV. I think this guy was born for it. So him being on some type of housewife show or some other type of show, man, this guy he is made for TV when it comes to that level of messiness and drama. So him getting with the queen of messiness and drama right now. It only makes sense because these are two peas in a pod here. So I do agree with you, man, that this is a business transaction. This is a mutually beneficial situation for the two of them. This is a good look for the both of them. And when I say a good look for the both of them, it's a good look for the both of them in terms of how mainstream things go and people that want to buy into that type of whatever, people that want to look at this as some type of weird relationship goals. Whether they're male or female, yeah, bro, people are into that.
Yeah, for sure.
So this falls right in line with all of those strange narratives. So, but yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. I feel like this is some type of PR weird, whatever. Is bro splacking? I think so, but that doesn't mean any damn thing.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing when I said they might get benefits via their physical proximity with one another, because they very well could be smashing, but I feel like that's just like extra cheese on the taco. That's an ancillary benefit, but the main thing is the mutually beneficial, business type, atmosphere that is cultivated around these types of unions.
Agreed, man. So yeah, man, that's my take on it, man. But I agree with you, bro. Overall hindsight, guys, stay away from the BBLs and stay away from these messy ass females, man. And ladies, stay away from these messy ass dudes. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I hear that, but they won't.
Yeah.
They won't. And then they'll get on their pages and then they'll complain. But look in the mirror if you're going through that.
Hell no. Yeah, man. Shout out to Offset, man. I'm still saying that. Shout out to Offset, man.
And we move on to one of the kings of zest, Mr. Dwight Howard,
unbelievable,
who after 6 months is going to be divorced. I didn't even know that he was married, first of all.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But Dwight Howard was married to a woman named Amy Luciani, who is the woman that you see here in our overlay there. But after 6 months of wedded bliss, Amy Luciani has filed for divorce from Dwight Howard, saying that the marriage is irrevocably broken and there is no chance for reconciliation.
Damn.
So, Dwight Howard, who he himself has entered into an interesting phase in his career, now being a player who is on the big three. This is where Dwight Howard is at the moment as a professional basketball player, and no shade to the big three. I'm a fan of the big three, but Dwight Howard is currently on the big three. So he was married to this woman named Amy Luciani, and after 6 months, that has gone kaput. So this says Amy Luciani files for divorce from Dwight Howard after 6 months of marriage. Dwight Howard and Amy Luciani tied the knot just a few months ago. According to TMZ Sports, however, they've already decided to go their separate ways. Reportedly, Luciani filed for divorce at a Georgia courthouse on July 1st. The marriage is irretrievably broken, the docs claim. There are no prospects for reconciliation. She wants all of their marital assets and property to be equitably divided by the courts and has requested alimony. At the time of writing, Howard has not publicly addressed the split, though Luciani did in an exclusive statement shared with the Shade Room.
Of course.
Although it is true, I am not sure how it got out to the public. Yeah, right. Still wrapping my head around a lot, although I know it won't happen. I hope the public can give us grace and privacy right now. She also took to her Instagram story earlier today to share an inspirational message. Remember, if God brought you to it, he will bring you through it. Howard confirmed his marriage to Luciani during an appearance on The Breakfast Club last month. In doing so, he explained that he prefers to keep most of his personal life private when possible. We are, he said, when asked if he and Luciani were married. There's always some rumors, but I just keep that side of my life private, so everybody ain't got nothing to say. Keep that private and keep it moving. Howard was previously in a tumultuous relationship with Royce Reed before getting engaged to Luciani last December. Amid news of the engagement, Reed took to social media to allege that the athlete abused both her and their 17-year-old son, Braylon Joshua Howard. So, of all people, Mr. Dwight Howard is yet another divorce alimony casualty. And this one didn't even last 6 months. So what do you make of this situation?
Yeah, man. Dwight played himself here. I don't know what he's thinking. But you know, as you like to talk about as people decision making, this guy's been making horrible decisions for a long time. You know, it's funny, man. When he came into the league, bro, he had this entire persona, man, of Christian guy and you know what I'm saying, high in values, you know, clean cut.
Yes.
Then it just went off the rails and it just became the zest fest. So all of a sudden he's big zesty and he's just getting into strange, peculiar behavior. And so I didn't know he was married. Now I was under the assumption he was like engaged to this woman. I didn't know he like formally got married. But yeah, that last woman, as the article mentioned, was really kicking up dust or whatever, talking about, you know what I'm saying, their son and all this other stuff. And, you know, I was like, hey man, you know, Dwight's actually trying to move on from you, man. Kid Rock. As toxic as y'all situation was, let the man move on or whatever. You know, I didn't know what was going to come of it, but I damn sure didn't have 6 months on my bingo card. So for her to pull this stunt, this lady here, now, I'm sure it is irreconcilable. You're dealing with Dwight Howard here. So I'm not saying she's lying. I'm saying Dwight's an idiot because he does irreconcilable things. He know damn well he's a you know what I'm saying? He played backdoor games. All right. He has his own version of Diddy parties from what I hear. So this guy here, he never slows down. So I don't know why he thought it was wise to tie the knot. And from what the article says, you know what I'm saying? He definitely put himself in a position to have some of his assets taken. Because you know she ain't bringing nothing to the table. So yeah, man, she put a 6 month like down payment type, you know what I'm saying, situation on this thing and just cashed out. And of course, Dwight did something that she can produce receipts on to say that he did. And you know, and I ain't trying to take all your points, man, but this ties into what you talked about before. Well, it's just like, look, if you know this is in your character set, why get married in the first damn place?
Exactly.
So he put himself in this wild ass situation. So, you know, you can't feel sorry for Dwight, man. You know, there was times in the past where I was like, maybe this guy's some misunderstood, or hey man, maybe the guy is a little zesty, man. Leave the man alone. But you know, there's so much stuff that come out with this guy where he's just making horrendous decisions that it's just like, yeah, man, you know, as fun loving as he may be, he seems to be a damn fool. So yeah, man, he got here. I can't even say that love was real love. It seems like he got played. You know what I'm saying? Allah, that dude we covered last week, saying that he felt like he got targeted. Right, bro, you got targeted. Well, what are your thoughts, Simon? What are your thoughts, man, on Dwight Howard? All right, only married for 6 darn months, now getting divorced and potentially some of his assets seized. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, he deserves everything. If she takes him to the cleaners, he deserves it. Once again, this is episode, what is it at this point? Episode number 50. This is episode 50 in the Conscious Approach series of people not taking accountability and not understanding how to accept who they are and make the right decisions accordingly. Dwight Howard is documented publicly enjoys a varied sex life. Emphasis on the word varied.
Yeah, alternative.
You're right. And if that is what you are about, and if that is who you are, I don't understand one's decision to get married unless you're
Right.
willing to turn that off.
Right.
Something tells me that he didn't disclose everything to this woman before marrying her. It kind of seems like they got married and then, stuff hit the fan because she's like, oh, I didn't really sign up for this. And then obviously, because he didn't enter into the situation with any protections, because that's what people who don't make good decisions do, she can now exit out of it with a come up, which is exactly what's going to happen. Yeah, it's almost like the second they walk down the aisle, she picked up her phone and set an alarm for 6 months from that date. And once the alarm went off, it was time to file the paperwork. But this is on Dwight Howard, just like it's on every other man who finds himself in this situation because he tried to fit a square peg into a round hole and be someone whom they are not. Dwight Howard strikes me as the type of individual who has no business being married from everything that I know publicly and what's been reported, yet he tried to do it anyway. Why? Beats me. To conform to a social norm because he felt pressure to do it. He's in a position of leverage. He's made tens of millions of dollars as a professional basketball player. There's nothing incentivizing him to get into this union. So I don't know what would have compelled him to do so other than him being confused about who he is as a person.
Right.
And when an individual is confused about who they are, they will get taken to the cleaners by people who can take advantage of it. And that's what she did. And so he deserves this. We need to come to grips with who we are as people and act accordingly. Stop waxing poetically about being the married type when you're not the married type. Just understand who you are. Don't get married if you're not built for it. And if you are built for it, don't try to be out in the streets when you know you're not built for that. Be who you are. No one's holding a gun to your head saying if you don't be who you are, we'll pull the trigger. Like, there's no consequences for being the person you were meant to be. But far too often people ignore that and they decide to try to go outside of themselves and do things that they have no business doing. And it sucks to see somebody who's in a privileged position have to relinquish a lot of what they worked to earn simply because they could not reconcile that emotion. And Dwight Howard appears to be the next person in a long line of individuals, men in particular, who found it difficult to make that reconciliation. So hopefully he doesn't get taken to the cleaners too heftily. But whatever happens to him, he would have deserved it. I have no sympathy for him. It is what it is. Make better decisions.
Yeah, Neo is looking like a prophet in these people's community because they all live in the same weirdo universe. And Neo said, I live in this weirdo universe where I do diddler behaviors, you know what I'm saying? Could get zesty from now and again, or have some off the wall, you know what I'm saying? What do you call that? Menages. You know what I'm saying? So he knew that that's the taste of life that he's on. And so, yeah, marriage didn't serve him. And so if Dwight goes to, and attends those parties, because that lady that the article was talking about, the one that he was either engaged to or ex-wife or whatever that woman was.
Oh, they were married. I thought they were married and they just got,
Yeah, so that she mentioned that he would have dudes coming to the house where the kids at, you know what I'm saying? And just going crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so he was living like a rock star. So I'm sure, and I know it hasn't stopped. That's what I'm saying. This woman just sat around, married the man, waited for the evidence for him to do his typical behavior. So yeah, the average everyday person that's living at the house is going to look at Neo like, hey man, he's some weirdo and he's just doing X, Y, and Z, but he's living in a weirdo universe. And so, but it makes sense for him to approach his love life in a weird fashion, air quote, because he's living in a alternate universe. Dwight lives in an alternate universe where he wants to do all of this alternative things. So as you mentioned, bro, it makes no sense for him to sit around here and, risk, his livelihood to try to prove some point to who? To us? We already know what time you want. Everybody knew it. Maybe he got married because of that. Because there's this whole rumor going around because he like lived like that. I saw a video not too long ago, probably like a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? He getting interviewed by that guy. I do not know the name of that man, but he got like a popular podcast. Dwight Howard sitting there on that guy podcast. And then Dwight was like, yeah, man, I'm not gay, man. I'm not gay, bro. It's like, come on, Dwight. Everybody knows it. But he said, man, it's a rumor, man. People got that idea from what I did to Isaiah Cannon or whatever that guy name is. And, where he said, it looked like I put my hand on his, I put my hand on his thigh, but people made it look like I was reaching for his genitals. It's like, you were reaching for his genitals. You know what I'm saying? Everybody saw it. That was in 4K. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying, bro. And nowadays when nobody gives a damn, bro, just go out there and you're living a celebrity. Nobody gives a damn. Everybody knows
that's why I don't think it's that. I just think he's confused about who he is and he just doesn't know.
Well, he wants to keep living all the way. He wants to enjoy both sides of the spectrum. So why get married?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, man, just take Neo's advice, all you celebrities. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs. You know what I'm saying? Just take the Neo approach and save yourselves. But they won't. They're going to keep doing all of this stuff. And we're going to be right here to talk about it when they start hits the fan, man, because people need to learn, as you mentioned, man. And that's well put, bro. If you know what time you want, don't sit there and lie to yourself and put yourself in a compromising position because you're trying to prove something to other people. Be honest with who you are. And if you're not ready to get married, don't force it. But these clowns out here, and you don't have to be in a position where you're in a position to lose millions of dollars, man. Just the anguish enough and dealing with lawyers and all that stuff and divorce and all, it's just not worth it. So yeah, man, tisk, man, 1,000 lashes for Dwight Howard here. Really don't have much words for her. She got what she wanted out of the situation. But Dwight with cake on his face yet again.
Yeah, I don't have much words for her because I don't even know who she is.
Yeah, who the hell is she?
I don't know. But I mean, but that's a valuable lesson that applies not just in celebrity world. I mean, you can extrapolate that to everybody. I mean, part of why people find themselves in disadvantageous life circumstances oftentimes is because it's the result of a decision that was made that came from something that they shouldn't be doing given who they are. Mm-hmm. Marriage, relationships, anything. Like if like man, woman, it doesn't matter. Young, it doesn't matter. Like you don't have to be a celebrity to understand that it does not behoove you to seek marriage and family if deep down inside you're not built for that, and if we all know who we are. Mm-hmm. So and that's part of the reason why, not all of, but it's part of the reason why the state of marriage and family is in such disarray, because there are a lot of people who, for various reasons, shouldn't be getting married and quite frankly shouldn't be having children.
No,
but they're not understanding who they are within this thing that we call life. And they're trying to buck the system, and they're going through with these things anyway, and it's creating a lot of broken families and a lot of broken homes in the process. Mm-hmm. And so that's a part. It's part and parcel as to why those kinds of sentiments should be heeded by everybody, not just people who are in that alternate universe of celebrity world. People need to act in kind with who they are, and I personally have met so many people who like to talk about being in relationships, and they'll blame, like, for example, I have male friends mm-hmm. who claim to want to be in relationships and claim to want to be married. Mind you, these are guys who are around my age, so they're damn near 40. Mm-hmm. It's like, look, bro, You're at this age. Who are you fooling? You don't need a lot of me. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. But these guys will be damn near 40, still singing that tune about how they want a serious relationship and how they want to be married. Yet they're always in the streets. And if you quiz them on why they're doing the street game while claiming that they want to be married, instead of saying it's because, instead of understanding that they're the reason why they can't figure it out, they'll just blame women. I hear it all the time. Oh, well, these chicks ain't loyal. Or women don't want to be submissive. Or women don't want to let a man lead. Women don't want to let a man lead. Women want to run the relationship. Women want to blah blah blah. They're blaming women as to why they haven't tied the knot yet.
Mhm.
And it's like, bro, it ain't women, it's you. You don't want to do it. You ain't ready for that. Like, if you were, you would have found a woman who was on your timeline because they exist. But you are gravitating towards women who aren't on that timeline because your true timeline is those women.
Just sad. It's a harsh reality, man.
It is. It is. And a lot of us can't accept it. And that goes for women too. Women will blame men for why they can't get married or find companionship or find somebody who can give them loyalty or who won't cheat on them, instead of acknowledging that they can't stop choosing the men who will give them the opposite of what they seek. So what they need to understand is maybe you're not built for this because what you like is instability.
Yeah.
That's what you like. But see, coming to terms with that is too painful. So they hide behind it and they will just sort of try to rationalize the decisions that they make by blaming the other person. It ain't everybody else's fault. It's your fault. And all of us collectively are engaging in this insanity. The ones who can't figure it out, that is. And Dwight Howard is amongst the individuals who can't figure it out, engaging in his own insanity. And so, everything that he gets coming to him as a result of this situation is his own doing. But maybe it can serve as a lesson for him.
Yeah, hopefully, but I highly doubt it, man. I feel more goofy, boneheaded decisions coming from this guy because he seems to love it. He's always in the news, man, when it comes to something, and it's always predicated around his decision making.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll stop here, man. You would hope so, but I don't think so, man. But hey, man, shout out to Big Zesty, bro. Hopefully you got a you had a prenup, bro, because this is looking bad for your partner.
Nah, he ain't had no prenup. And a correction, him and Royce Reed, they weren't married. They never got married. They just had the kid together. So that's a correction on my part. They were never married, but still very suspect decision making.
Crazy stuff, man.
Good luck, Dwight. Last but not least, we are going to get into Kai Cenat, who is catching a lot of backlash for partnering with Target to, he has a new male grooming, or what is it called? The products like that, deodorant, lotions, and stuff like that. Personal care products, stuff like that. So Kai Cenat is launching a brand of personal care products, I believe, for men, and he's partnering with Target. So Target is going to start promoting and selling his personal care brand, and people are calling him out for that in lieu of Target rolling back DEI policies. So, a lot of people in the community are upset at Kai Cenat for going the route of partnering with Target, because Target in the beginning of 2025 rolled back its DEI policies and it pissed everybody off. So people boycotted Target. They said, we're not going to shop there because they don't like people of color. They don't like black people. They don't like non-white people. They're rolling back DEI and we're not going to stand for that. And so now they're mad at Kai Cenat for going after a bag by partnering with Target on this new personal care brand of his. So this says Kai Cenat faces social media backlash for collaborating with Target despite cutback on DEI initiatives. Kai Cenat is facing backlash on social media for teaming up with Target for the release of a new personal care brand, Tone, in the department store chain. In celebration of the move, the live streamer and the AMP Collective hosted a sleepover, of course, inside a Target location over the weekend. As clips of the group racing around the store circulated online, fans complained about the stream. Target trying so hard to get black people back in stores without hardcore apologizing. They let Kai and Amp have a sleepover in the store. I don't care how many influencers they pay, still not shopping there, one user wrote on Twitter. Another hopped in the comment section of a post from the neighborhood talk to add, the moment y'all realize these rich celebrities don't care about poor and working class folks, the less triggered you'll be. As long as they stay at the top, what happens to the bottom don't concern them. As for Tone, Cenat explained his inspiration for the brand in a press release for Target. We really saw a gap in the shelves for a new brand to break through, and for a brand that is fresh and represents who we are and our community are. Products that don't just look good, but actually work and smell great. The line features a total of 16 products, including deodorant, body wash, and more. Kai Cenat isn't the first celebrity to face backlash for shopping at Target. Earlier this year, Cardi B came under fire for posting a picture of herself with her family at the store. Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles, even used her platform to condemn people shopping at Target in a post on social media back in January. So y'all bowed down and kissed the ring, huh? Crossing you off my list. No more Target, she wrote at the time. So here is Kai Cenat and the Ant Boys getting geeked up in Target over this personal care brand.
Oh, it's right here. It's right here. Oh my gosh.
Yo! Oh my god! Oh my god! We got hella real estate!
Oh my gosh!
We got hella real
Oh my
estate!
Nah! Yo!
We did it. Tell him you made it.
Well, y'all boys look good, boy.
Tone made it. The body wash. Boom.
Body wash out, nigga.
The on-the-go cologne, boom. The deodorant, boom. The lip balm, boom.
Wow.
Wow.
Y'all niggas in Target, bro.
Oh, wait, hold up. Wait. Oh, yeah, let me refresh this. Oh, wait, is it going to play? No, it's not going to play.
I mean, I guess you can launch a skincare thing. I mean, pulling out all the stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
AMP, the store is now closed. Please make your way to the rear.
What? We still got kicked out? We still...
AMP, please make your way to the rear. The store is now closed.
No! We kicked out! We kicked out! We kicked out!
Really?
All right.
Unbelievable.
So yeah, streamers are just so weird.
I mean, it's for middle school kids, man.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah. So what do you think about? You think the backlash is warranted? What do you make of that situation?
Of course not. I don't think the the backlash is warranted, but Target is clearly feeling it. They have a bad credit score right now with the black community for whatever reason, everybody picked up on Target when Target decided to do it. And of course, man, they had to hire everybody's lovable Kai Cenat, man. They had him at was he at the I think he was at the BET Awards. Why? Because the BET Awards is dead. So when your situation's dead and it needs a rebirth, you bring in Kai Cenat. That's his job. So he's like the cleanup guy to help your brand reestablish itself, or just to help your brand get some clicks and views, and also work in that new generation of young consumers. You know what I'm saying? Because they got to get the middle schoolers to buy into the BET Awards, and they need to get the middle schoolers to buy into Target. Now, of course, my problem with people having an issue with this, no, I'm not a racist. Sorry, as much as you guys may think that I am. No, I just don't understand why everybody's targeting Target. Now, I have a list of companies here that roll back DEI in the year of 2025. And please stop me when if I'm naming companies that you still patronize. One is Meta. 2, Boeing. That means if you caught a plane. PepsiCo. So if you drink any of their ratchet products. Toyota. Okay. Amazon. I know you done got something on Prime. You know what I'm saying? I know you ordered something. Okay. Or I know
Prime Day is today. Prime going dumb today. It's Prime Day.
And Negroes is on there, but they saying they ain't going to Target. You know what I'm saying? How about Disney? All right, you got any Disney Plus subscriptions? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. What about Apple? You guys got any iPhones out there, or y'all some Androiders? Oh, I thought. Okay, well, Google did it too. Okay, all right, my bad. How about McDonald's? You guys love your McFishes, huh? So all right, so and the list goes on. All right. I left out companies like John Deere, but not too many people are riding those. Okay, but all right, but for the Negroes out there, your Walmarts, okay, your Googles, your Apples, you guys boycotting them too? Why Target? Why is Target is the one that everybody, you got preachers and stuff on CNN and MSNBC and stuff like that talking about Target specifically. Why Target? Shouldn't you take that energy everywhere they roll back DEI? I think that would be the real non-racist thing to do. But it sounds like you guys are the ones that's being self-hating and racist when you go and pull up at McDonald's, because I know you do. So my thing here is the hypocrisy. No, I don't care for Kai Cenat doing this, but Kai Cenat, he just jumps for whatever the check's at, man. He's an industry guy, just in the streaming world. So he goes wherever the checks are. And he does whatever weird stuff. I mean, he's done streams from prison. Why would you do that? He's done sleepovers in prison. Why would you do that? Because he's an industry guy and he does anything for a check. So of course he did this. So you can't just be mad at him for doing this if you're going to Walmart. You can't be mad at him for doing this when you bought something on Prime Day, or you watch something that's exclusively streaming on Prime. So you have to have a subscription, So people can miss me with the double talk, man. If you feel that way, go all the way there. You know what I'm saying? And if you did, you wouldn't even be able to hop on any of these social media platforms to tell me. Because you have to be using one of these during things. You got to be able to get on. Google is YouTube, by the way. So you can't get on YouTube and tell me about how you're being so pro this and pro that if you're using one of their things. So miss me with it. Google is IG. So no, wait. Meta is IG. which was on the list.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So y'all can miss me with it, man. So what are your thoughts, man, on the internet giving Kai Cenat the backlash? Them in the AMP house signing what do you call it? NDAs and all of that stuff, man. What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I'm tired. This DEI stuff is annoying. Yeah, let you know, he is an industry guy. He is doing it to get paid. He isn't thinking about the
No,
side. He isn't thinking about the socio-political ramifications of any of his decisions. He's just doing it for money. So you know, I guess you can argue one should be more conscientious, and maybe you want to argue that he has a responsibility to be more conscientious when it comes to the partnerships that he forms. But to anyone who would say that, I would then turn around and say, well, then you should be more conscientious about the things that you purchase. To your point, if you want to hold Kai Cenat responsible for partnering with Target because of their DEI rollbacks, then I'm going to hold you responsible for not using an iPhone and for not using Facebook or Instagram and for not being on YouTube and for not having a, as you put it, and it's more than Disney Plus. It could be Hulu, ESPN Plus, all of that. That's all Disney too. I hope you didn't go to Disney World, Animal Kingdom, any of that stuff. Because like you said, they all roll back DEI, so y'all should be boycotting all of that stuff and not just pinpointing Target. As an aside, I have a theory on why Target has gotten the ire so much. And my theory is just that I feel like for a lot of people in our community, Target was always like premium shopping.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like for a lot of us, back in the day, Target was always looked at as like bougie almost. Like, oh, you can shop at Target. Oh, you must be doing well enough in life that you can regularly shop at Target. So, you know, whereas people who made a good living and did well for themselves, maybe they were going to, I don't know, Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, or maybe they were going to fancy department stores and all of that kind of stuff. For us, because we reside a bit lower on the socioeconomic ladder, for us, Target was that. And so I kind of feel like we patronize Target more than those other places. And so that's why we've chosen to hyperfixate on Target more than these other places. But that's just a theory. I don't know if that's true or not. But, you know, in reference to this backlash concerning all this DEI stuff, I mean, I just, you know, and I'm reading. So I read the description of Target's, you know, DEI rollbacks. And it says Target's DEI rollback refers to the company's decision to significantly reduce or eliminate several internal DEI programs. This included ending a racial equity program. I don't know what that means. That's very ambiguous. Rebranding a supplier diversity team, which that amounts to jobs, and ceasing the tracking of DEI hiring goals. Again, that relates back to jobs. The move was reportedly prompted by political pressure and a desire to reduce backlash, but it has sparked considerable controversy and financial repercussions for the company. Program reductions and rebranding, racial equity action and change program. Target ended its 3-year REACH program, which aimed to address racial disparities and increase opportunities for underrepresented groups. Again, that's ambiguous. I don't know what that means specifically. The supplier diversity team was renamed Supplier Engagement, shifting from a focus on diverse suppliers to a broader procurement approach. That to me sounds like suppliers are out of jobs. Target ceased tracking DEI hiring goals and stopped reporting to external DEI rankings, such as the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index. Once again, that centers back on jobs. So as far as I can tell, the hoopla over Target's DEI rollbacks largely center on hiring, with the exception of a few things that are meant to target like supply chains. You know, now to anybody who does not like that because they feel as though Target is now going to not make an effort to, put more people from our community behind cash registers and on stocking shelf floors, I would say good riddance. Who cares? Because if DEI's purpose is to funnel more of us into the modern day slavery system, I say we don't need it. And based on what I'm reading, the majority of those rollbacks have a lot to do with rollbacks that are centered around employment. And while I do believe employment does serve a practical purpose, it should not be anyone's ultimate end goal. And so I think that the less machinations that are present to funnel us into these modern day slavery systems, the better. Furthermore, I will also say, Chris Rock had a classic line when he was talking about racial equality. I think I've referenced this before. And he basically was saying true racial equality isn't giving Black people the same opportunities to succeed as white people. Rather, it's giving Black people the same opportunities to fail as white people. Equality is giving Black people the same opportunities to suck and be bad at things, but still be able to do it with impunity as white people. And the reason why I bring that up is because, and this might sound like a crazy, controversial statement, right? This might sound real crazy to a lot of people out there who are watching this video.
Oh, shit.
But to me, all of this stuff around diversity and equity and inclusion, to me, the essence of inclusion isn't in forcing people who are enterprising to allow everybody into their enterprise that they own. But to me, the true essence of inclusion is everyone else being able to own their own enterprise so that they can run their enterprise with the same level of prejudice as everybody else. So I kind of feel like the focus from a mentality standpoint should be on people from the community running their own store so that they can elect to not do DEI the way Target has elected to not do DEI. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if Hispanic people, and by the way, Hispanic people are already doing this. All right. Exactly. I live in South Florida. Hispanic people run this place. They run the vast majority of the small businesses. These Hispanic people have cornered the market in service, hospitality, and real estate. They're running a lot of brokerages and real estate firms. And do you know what they're doing? They're hiring other Hispanic people. So like they're not actively practicing DEI. So, and therefore they're not crying about lack of DEI because they have enterprisers who are represented in their community who are available to give them opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I kind of feel like the focus should be us being able to run our own enterprises so that we can exercise the most extreme prejudice possible when it comes to how we want to run hiring practices or how we want to make supply chain arrangements and business relationships. But we're not doing that because we spend too much time crying about the fact that Target is enterprising the way that they want to enterprise. So, I kind of feel like DEI is a smokescreen, in my opinion. And I know that this is a very unpopular opinion, but I've always felt as though DEI is a smokescreen that is meant to funnel more Black and brown people into employment and servitude, rather than finding ways to funnel them into them being able to create their own enterprises so that they can build their own enterprise up. And then they can hire whoever the hell they want to hire, run it however the hell they want to run it. If they want to DEI their stuff, they can. And if they don't want to, they can because it's theirs and they can do whatever they want with their stuff, as opposed to you crying about what someone else does with their stuff. So I'm just very indifferent and apathetic when it comes to DEI rollbacks. I don't really care. I kind of feel like it is a smoke and mirrors mechanism to funnel people who are disenfranchised into permanent servitude and employment, which I don't think is the path to freedom for anybody. So I am unmoved by his partnership, and because I never cared about Target's DEI rollbacks in the first place. Get your own stuff so that if you want to roll back DEI, you can do that. And no one's going to care because they can't tell you how or what to do with what belongs to you. So that's pretty much how I feel about that.
Yeah, man. Well said, bro. And I'll just add to that by, stating what I already mentioned earlier is, keep the same energy while you're at it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to get violently mad at one corporation that did that, and you're visiting several others that did the exact same thing. Like, it doesn't make any sense, because I see people only, we boycotting Target, right? I only hit Target. You're only talking about Target. So I just named a list of other places that you should also be including in that list.
Yeah.
But while you're doing that, I wouldn't even hear you talk about it because you're banning it. So the mere fact that I'm on IG and you sitting here talking about boycott these places that did DEI, you shouldn't be posting. I shouldn't even see your post. I shouldn't see you on YouTube crying about it because YouTube did it. So, so keep the same energy. Or life isn't just this black and white situation. Things can be nuanced. You can still go to these places that have black-owned businesses, because there's still black-owned businesses in Target. You can still patronize that, because you're still going to end up going to these places anyway, apparently, if you're going to these other ones. So if you're going to these places, go to the ones that's whatever. If there's black-owned stores in Amazon, if there's black-owned things, if that's how you're feeling about it, But life is balanced, and it's a lot more nuanced than just cutting things off. They put us in this weird position right now in North America where we're not literally dependent on it. It's not life or death. We don't have to do any of these things, but we've grown to be so dependent on these things. And so while we wean ourselves from these things, implement what you mentioned, JV Wins, in a situation of build your own. And so by building our own, instead of being so worried about who we boycotting, we should be worried about who we're supporting, because this person over here built their own supply chain. They built their own store. They built their own whatever. And at that point, the energy can shift from woe is us, look at what oppressor did to us, to, hey man, we're building our own operation. So one step at a time, but just sitting there treating one store as if it's the mega supervillain, no, man, it's a whole legion of them. So ban all of them. If there's one that you're still holding on to, then one sin is no greater than the next.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. So that's all I gotta say about the DEI stuff, man. I get where the energy's coming from, but let's do the whole thing. We can't just stop after doing one thing. Like, this is a whole job. We have to execute the whole job. But sitting there just doing step one and going, I did my part. No, there's like 18 more steps. Yeah. So keep going,
Yeah, facts. Lowe's is another one. Lowe's also rolled it back.
Because that's Walmart.
Yeah.
Sam's.
I was in Lowe's the other day. I saw a whole bunch of black folks in that store picking up supplies. And how much you want to bet, if you asked a bunch of them when's the last time they went to Target, they'll definitely get on their high horse, talking about how they are boycotting Target because of their racism. and I don't know, man. I'm unmoved by the presence of DEI as well as the rollbacks. I rolled my eyes when these companies started doing this 5 years ago. Exactly. I rolled my eyes because it's like, oh, now you care? So right. y'all have been doing this for 50, 60, 70, 80. It, like, some of these companies are legacy companies that have been around for like 150, 200 years.
Right.
Doing business as usual. And now because you see somebody get killed on social media and there's protests, now y'all want to develop policies because you suddenly care. Right. I never bought it. Bought it. Like the whole time, all they were doing was trying to look like they're on the right side of history. I've said it 1,000 times. Otherwise, it's been business as usual. But people actually put their faith in this stuff. So much so that when the rollbacks came, now you feel betrayed. You shouldn't have bought into it in the first place.
Agreed.
This has never been anything more than business as usual in capitalism. It's a fair market society. This stuff is about making money. They don't care about any of this stuff. They don't care. They instituted a lot of these policies because they felt as though it would positively impact the bottom line. It would bring in more business.
And it served this purpose for as long as it needed to. And then they said, you know what? It's not even worth it anymore. Let's just drop it.
I'm over it, man. Like I said before, I've always felt like it was a mechanism to try to, whether it's intentional or unintentional, at the very least, it's an unintended consequence of funneling more people into modern day indentured servitude, which nowadays is called employment. And I don't think that that's the pathway to really give people, prosperous opportunities. So I just never cared about DEI. I never did. And since I never care about it, I don't care about somebody who patronizes a store that rolled it back, because I never bought into what it was supposed to stand for in the first place.
Hey, well said, bro. Well said.
No, I still think that Kai Cenat is weird as hell.
Of
but
course.
Streamers are just weird. I don't know.
Of course.
I missed the boat on that one, but it is what it is, man. All right, people. That does it for us. That does it for another edition of the Conscious Approach stream on YouTube. Major shouts out to everybody who checked us out. Major shouts out to Marcus Dudley on the chat, as always. Shouts out to M. Duddies, of course, for the super chat as well, bro. You are the real MVP, man. When our channel reaches that level of influence, we'll be able to look back and know that Marcus Dudley, M. Duddies, was right there on the front lines, man.
Hell yeah.
Can't say enough about his support for us and what we do here. And he don't even agree with everything that we be saying. So
I'm a dog.
But yeah, JD wins, Dogon SS once again. Check us out on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts as we continue to keep this logical content. Check us out on TikTok at Con Approach, CONAPPROACH. Check out Conscious Approach on Instagram, same thing at Con Approach. And I am also reachable on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. Hit that like button if you are so inclined. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video. We do pay attention and respond, so long as you're not being a troll. And as I always like to say, everybody, don't be a group thinker. Have a mind of your own. Think for yourself. Don't worry about being disagreeable. Don't worry about being well-liked. Just worry about living in your truth, and everything else will fall by the wayside. So until next time, salute. We'll see you on the next video.
And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS, on YouTube, DraftKings, TikTok while it's still around. All right. Hey, man, there's a social media platform out there. Dogon_SS is out there. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow, and all that good stuff from there. As I say on every pod, guys, we greatly appreciate y'all for watching. All right. Hitting the like and subscribe, consciously leaving comments. All right. We do this every Tuesday night, dog. We want to play around. And we're also on Audible. All right, because hey, man, why not, man? So make sure you guys check us out as well. All right, So don't be too high, don't be too low, man. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it flip, and don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So until the next time, people, which is next week, we'll see y'all in the next episode.
Yeah, that's right. Shouts out to the Heat signing Norman Powell. At least they did something.
Hell
yeah. We'll catch y'all on the next video, man. Thank you very much for watching. Peace and love. Later.
Peace. I don't know, man. That's so mid-level.
It's something.
I know. That's better than what we normally do, bro.